Hi, welcome to another episode of The Hollywood Makers. I am your host, Claudia Cano Asbjornsen. Over the last weeks, the media and entertainment industry has been sending some pretty clear signals about where it's headed next and what's quietly changing underneath the surface. We are going to dive deep into those changes and the news that made headlines in the past few weeks. Let's start with the Oscars, because that's the headline everyone's talking about. The nominations are out, and yes, the reactions were exactly what you'd expect. Excitement, disappointment, disbelief, and a lot of group chats lighting up at the same time. But beyond the snubs and surprises, there are some real signals here about where the Academy and the industry might actually be headed. The biggest story, without a question, is Sinners. Ryan Coogler's horror film didn't just do well, it made history. 16 nominations. That's more than Titanic, All About Eve, La La Land. And what's wild is that it just didn't do strong in one or two branches. Sinners was nominated in every category it was eligible for, which tells you that this was not a fluke. It had broad, across-the-board support from the Academy. And maybe just as important, it's that it's a horror film. Horror hasn't been historically liked by the Oscars, especially when it's not framed as elevated. What's different this year is that the genre and genre films weren't treated like outliers. Performances were recognized. Makeup and hairstyling was recognized. Even fun, unapologetically mainstream horror got real attention. And that's a big shift. Or at least a clearest sign that there's a shift that might be finally happening. Now, right behind Sinners is Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, with 13 nominations. Political, timely, very much in conversation with where the world is right now. And then you look at the Best Picture lineup overall, and it is striking how international it feels. Non-English language films and performances showed up in a big way again this year. We are talking acting nominations, Best Picture nominations, not token slots. Films like The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value, continuing a trend we've seen grow steadily over the last decade. Now, whether that translates into the win, that's another conversation. But representation on the ballot itself is not an exception anymore. At the same time, some familiar franchises clearly lost momentum. New Avatar, new Wicked, huge box office, but minimal award traction. And that's a reminder that commercial success and awards aren't automatically moving together anymore. That said, not everyone walked away happy. Let's talk about snubs. The most obvious one, Wicked for Good. Last year, Wicked pulled in 10 nominations and won 2 Oscars. This year, completely shut out, 0. And while the sequel made money, the box office dipped. Reviews were lukewarm, and that's just a reminder of how quickly award momentum can evaporate. Then there's Avatar: Fire and Ash. $1 billion+ worldwide, but no Best Picture nomination, not even a Producers Guild nod. That's a pretty strong signal of franchise fatigue, and maybe even a quiet acknowledgement that spectacle alone isn't enough anymore. Now for some surprises. One of the most eyebrow-raising Best Picture nominations this year was F1. This is what you might call a classic action movie, fast cars, swagger, and craft. On the directing side, Joachim Trier getting a nod for Sentimental Value is a really interesting moment. That film quietly built support, and voters seem to respond to its emotional complexity. And maybe it's not so subtle commentary on Hollywood itself. Trier beating out Guillermo del Toro raised also some eyebrows, especially since Frankenstein earned 9 nominations overall and had some very loud champions. But the director's branch went another way. As a Guillermo del Toro fan, I was very disappointed because I thought he did deserve this nomination this year for Frankenstein. The performances also gave us plenty to talk about. Kate Hudson's lead actress nomination for Sung Sung Blue is one of those feel-good surprises. It's her first nomination since Almost Famous, and it speaks to how much voters are craving sincere adult dramas, the kind the studios are not making nearly enough anymore. On the flip side, Cynthia Erivo missing out on Wicked for Good wasn't entirely shocking, but still disappointing. Her role isn't centered the way it was in the first film. And in a stacked category, screen time matters. One bright spot that feels universally deserved is Delroy Lindo finally earning his first Oscar nomination for Sinners. His performance is essential to the film. Emotionally, thematically, historically, it is one of those nominations where people across the industry collectively say, "Oh yeah, it's about time." So that's the Oscars moment that we're in. Genre breaking through, international cinema holding ground, and prestige being redefined in real time. Now, zooming out from awards to production, let's talk about AI. Because AI is no longer a future headline. It's already in the workflow. In just the past few weeks, conversations around AI in production have shifted from if to how far. Studios and production companies are actively testing AI for pre-visualization, post-workflows, marketing assets, and internal development tools. What's notable is that much of this experimentation is happening quietly, inside pipelines, no press releases. At the same time, there's growing tension around guardrails. Creatives are pushing for clearer boundaries on how AI can and cannot be used, especially when it comes to likeness, voice, and authorship. Expect this to remain a live issue, not just in negotiations, but in day-to-day production decisions. Which then brings us to Hollywood labor. Employment across film and TV remains uneven. While some crews are back at work, others are still experiencing long gaps between jobs. There's a growing sense that the industry is structurally recalibrating. Fewer overall projects, smaller teams, and more reliance on flexible, multi-hyphenate roles. For insiders, the takeaway is this: stability isn't coming back in the same form that we expected. Career paths are becoming less linear, and adaptability is increasingly part of the job description, whether that's across formats, platforms, or technologies. And finally, one of the most interesting moves happening right now is microdramas. Over the past couple of weeks, legacy media companies have made it clear they are no longer just watching the short-form scripted space, they are entering it. We're seeing real investment in episodic microdramas designed for mobile viewing, short runtimes, fast production cycles, and highly serialized storytelling. What's significant here is that this isn't being treated as disposable content. These projects are being developed with intention, often partnering with digital-first creators who already understand audience behavior. For writers, directors, and producers, this opens up new creative and commercial lanes. But it also raises questions about ownership, scale, and sustainability. So when you step back and look at all the few weeks that we just had as a whole, a pattern emerges. The industry is prioritizing flexibility over volume, efficiency over access, and formats that meet audiences where they already are, whether that's in theaters, phones, or somewhere in between. The takeaway for insiders right now is adaptability across formats, across platforms, across tools. That's not necessarily good or bad, but it's real. So when you put all this together, the Oscars, AI, labor, microformats, the pattern starts to emerge. The industry is recalibrating, not collapsing, not rebounding to what we knew as normal, but reshaping itself around flexibility, efficiency, and meeting audiences exactly where they are. And for those of us working inside it, the goal right now isn't to predict every outcome. It's to stay literate in the shifts as they happen. because they're happening fast. And the people who understand that shift early will be the ones best positioned for what comes next. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining us on this very full of news, full of change episode. And please remember to like and subscribe and send us your comments and always be part of our community at the Hollywood Makers. Till next time.